Welcome into Mile High Territory, Ryan Spilborghs and Troy Renck. We have a great show for you today just because Rockies have been playing really well. It was the longest road trip of the season, and we'll reflect on that. We'll also get into Zac Veen and the psychopath that he is in a good way. And then Coors Field. It's been a wild homestand for Coors Field when it comes to events, from Noah Khan to the Savannah Bananas. And I think you kind of see my Bananas jersey right behind me. So we'll get into that as well. Troy, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Yeah, I got a chance to see you on TV this weekend at Coors Field. We'll talk about that more. And yeah, what a weekend for the Rockies. 5-4 road trip. I was worried, like, man, 100 losses could be in sight if they, have one of those disastrous 1-8s, and instead just the opposite happened. Finished strong in Arizona, and they carried that over to win a series in San Francisco, win the season series for the first time, but since 2020.
Forever.
So, yeah, these are little mile markers. They're not huge yet, but when we look back and this team's turned it around, it's weekends like this that you'll remember.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, when you start looking at the season, and for a lot of people, I mean, there's still, I mean, this was a big road trip where now I mean, we're hoping that this 100 loss number is kind of in the rear view, but it's still in play. You still have to play well. And when I was in Arizona, the day game, look, the Rockies won several games there that the Diamondbacks are probably going to look back on and go, we should not have lost those games. And for the Diamondbacks, I mean, that's a postseason caliber team. And the style of play that we've been seeing, especially from the lineup, I mean, Brett Sullivan, holy moly, Troy. Like, I know we've talked about Brett Sullivan, but the fact is he has been the de facto leader for the Rockies. And when it comes to even the post-game celebrations, he leads it. And he came into this year with basically zero service time. I mean, like less than a year. And to kind of give you, I mean, like, I guarantee you there's not another team in baseball where the leader of the clubhouse is a 32-year-old with 100 days of service time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that guy doesn't exist. Most of the time it would be a Mickey Moniak, or, you go down the road for all these different teams in baseball. Most rarely would it be as somebody in his very first year with an organization, and he's putting up numbers. It's crazy. He's been so important to this group that, I think that's the part that gets usually lost on front offices and organizations, is that type of player and the impact he can have to the entire group, even when he's not an everyday guy. And that is certainly what Sullivan has brought to the table.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I first heard they were carrying him, it was a 3 catcher thing, and it was like, well, he's a vibes guy. He's just around, kind of help, that caulking guy that keeps guys glued together, and good attitude, good energy. And I saw him, like, he actually can catch. He's a pretty good catcher, which, there's worse things to be than a guy that can catch and throw in this league. But he can hit. I mean, he has power. He can hit. I mean, with Goodman out, and then, of course, they missed Goodman, but they didn't miss him this weekend because Sullivan did an unbelievable impersonation of him. I mean, and again, I don't know how they know, but I know Dee Podesta has told people, in, like, when they do those fan, like, town meeting type stuff, they identified Sullivan as someone important they wanted. So I don't know if that was through Josh, it was through Depot, or where they got the intel, because there's nothing from a baseball standpoint that would make him like, oh, he's a guy we have to have. But they clearly saw a much bigger picture. And again, I cover teams like with you on it, and the energy you brought, and to keep it loose in the clubhouse and remind guys that, hey, let's not take this for granted. We get to play baseball for a living, and let's enjoy our misery together, but we still have to enjoy the game and enjoy the sport and enjoy each other. And there's value in that. It's harder in baseball than other sports because of 162 games and the failure. It's hard to be in a good mood when you're failing, and no sport fails its best players more than baseball. But a guy like Sullivan, and when you're not playing every day, you can kind of be the barometer and take the temperature. And let's not kid ourselves. The fact that he's succeeding, it can only help him in that role. As people forget about you, They're like, oh, Spill, he was that vibes guy. That expression didn't exist. It was just kind of like the fun guy or, the personality. You had big hits. Like, it can't work if you never contribute, in
That's
my
right.
opinion.
Yeah, that's
At
right.
some point, you got to give up there and get a hit, because otherwise we could bring a stand-up comic in, put a jersey on him. Like, at some point, you got to show you're a big leaguer, and you did. Like, there's a baseline for guys to respect you. I always believe that. Like, Lenny Harris was one of the few bench guys I ever saw that commanded respect, but he played well when he played, and he was a kind of an intimidating figure. But this guy, Sullivan, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work long term when I heard what they were using him for. But hell, he can play.
He can play.
He fills his role as well as anyone can fill their role on this team this year. He's filled his.
Yeah, and to that point, like in my case, I also spent. I mean, I was within the organization, so guys saw me work for years. And, like I earned that opportunity to be a vibes guy because that's already what I am. But then to command the respect because you saw how I worked. In Sullivan's case, in Brett Sullivan's case, this is first year, and usually catchers, especially veteran catchers, they command respect because they're already pros. Um, but this type of impact, I'm just not. I don't think there's one in like I swear to God, I don't think there's one Brett Sullivan in Major League Baseball. I think he's
Really? Yeah,
completely
you would know.
unique to the Rockies, where he's the guy that is leading the group as a first year with limited service time. I mean, it's really rare. It's really, really rare.
I mean, I think of guys like personal catchers like Eddie Perez for Maddox and personal catchers, but I don't remember any of them being clubhouse leaders. I mean, I'd have to go back through my memory bank, but like, what was the guy from the Brewers that everyone liked? Eric, was it Wentz or something? Like, there was a guy like that, but it's hard. Darren Dalton, but he's a star.
He was a
I mean,
star.
yeah, it's Charles, all the catchers I think about, even when you guys were in your prime, I mean, the backup catchers were nice guys, but I don't remember any of them being team leader. I'll say that Jorvit Torrealba in a way, but Jorvit played more than Sullivan.
Yeah, Jorvik came from years of. I mean, like Sullivan
But he
had
had already-
102 days. He had 102
Yeah, I was
days
gonna
before
say-
the start of the season.
who was his service time with? I don't even know. This
It was
is
with the Padres.
Yeah, I didn't even remember who he played with because he was just a guy. So Jorvit would be the only example I could come up with, but he was a legitimate major league player when he got here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm telling you, it's really rare and it's also really fun. And then I have a little Brett Sullivan story when we do talk about the Bananas in a bit.
Hey, for those of you that are on your phones very often, or even if you don't use it much, you should check out your wireless bill and make sure that it is treating you well. It's summertime, you're feeling good, right, AJ? But are you spending too much on your wireless bill, and should Mint Mobile get involved?
As someone that has 2 college-age kids, Scott, they're always on their phone, whether it's they're checking their Snap, they're checking their DMs, they're checking their Twitter. I need $15 a month because I need unlimited quality coverage that Mint Mobile provides.
To get that new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory. That's it. No catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
It was also nice to see with this younger look lineup. So Adael Amador was in the lineup yesterday. So his first start in I think almost over a year for Amador. And Amador ends up getting 2 walks and a 3-run home run. So that was really nice for him. This guy was a top 50 prospect a couple years ago, and he's kind of fallen off that mantle. Wasn't quite everybody was hoping he was going to be the next Ozzie Albies type player, speed, power, play second base. That was not the skill set he had. He was supposed to be a high walk rate guy, big time contact, not as fast. And so this version of him looks a lot better. And sometimes you have to go down to the minor leagues, which is one thing that the Rockies have done this year with Veen and now Amador, is that they're forcing them to earn the opportunity, not just giving it to them. And I think that is that cold dose of water when you're a young player, when you're like, oh crap, like I'm not just on the top 50 prospect list and I get to be a big leaguer. No, no, doesn't work that way. I thought that was important. And it was good to see Amador have some success in the first day back. And same with Veen. Veen's been very good since his call up.
Yeah, Amador, I'll be honest, my son saw him in AA when my son was working in Richmond. So he was in Hartford, and he had texted me. He's like, Dad, I'm not sure why they think this guy's a top prospect. He's like, I think he's a big league player, but he was giving off more like Johnny Herrera vibes without the glove. Like, I mean, it was like there was no power there. There was like, there's no there. And then, like, when you say he had a home run and 2 walks, and the home run was absolutely a moonshot where he pulled his hands through and got a ball straight up into the air. I think he had 1 home run last year, and he might have had 2 walks all last year. Like, the guy didn't walk. Like, and he didn't look the part. Like, physically, his body type didn't look right for me.
Nope.
It looks better. He looks like he's in better shape. Looks like he has a much better command of the strike zone, or at least a plan at the plate. And I love what you said about forcing their way onto it. Some of it, too, they're learning it's not even just enough to play well. You can need an injury. Veen's only up because Freeman got hurt. And so being a pro, when you're killing it in AAA and just keeping your head down and saying, I gotta make sure I'm ready when I do get the call, because that's hard in AAA when you're hitting well and the call's not coming, and then you start to get a little disappointed. And then when you do get the call, you're in a bad headspace because you're pissed off you should have been up earlier. But Amador played well. And Veen, listen, the guy is absolutely caffeinating their lineup. He caffeinates the dugout. He plays in a way that's a little erratic. Like, he takes some, a little bit of his routes sometimes are a little goofy, but he's making the plays. And that play at home, that's the Veen we saw in spring training last year, but he realistically weighed probably 40 pounds less. Like, he just ran. That was like his superpower, was he was running the bases like crazy in spring training last year. And I wondered, when he got so big, I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't lose that tool, because he's really good at it. And that play there is like what you see in like youth baseball or high school or even college, where a ball skips away by a foot, and it's like, I'm coming. I got a great read. I got a great secondary. And you could see the dugout jump from it, because it was still a game then. Like, and the dugout fed off of it. He fed off of it. Again, are you going to do that for 162 games? No. But it's just the kind of stuff within a season that gives you a jolt. It's literally just gives you that burst of energy, and he's providing it. And you've said it better than I could, because you know him better. I'm just happy that when someone did an incredible look in the mirror and realized, I can't play the victim just because I was a top draft choice and it didn't work out the way I wanted. There's really one person to blame for that in most cases, and it's the mirror. It's in the mirror. And he took stock, showed self-awareness, and found a way to get himself in a better position to play baseball and be more of a professional on a daily basis. And it's taken a while. He's had to earn trust back. He's had to do a lot. I don't want to say burn bridges, but he had to mend some fences with the way he's acted before. And it's not perfect, and he's going to do stuff, folks, that make you. But last year, this time, or in April, he was doing a bong celebration.
I know.
He was so
In spring
immature.
training,
Immature. He was just like, dude, when he did that, and I saw him after the game, I'm like, Zach, dude, you can't do this stuff. You're on TV now, man. You cannot do it. He's just, oh, it's cool, man. I'm like, oh, no. And to see him now, it's literally like night and day.
Yeah, it really is. And I've said this to you, like, first time I met Zach, you're drawn to his personality. He's a carefree, very loving kid. He's always got a smile, but you also know, like, his background, like, he needed a mentor and he hasn't had one. And part of the flaws were, based on the environment that he grew up in. And that happens. I've had teammates that came from backgrounds that weren't exactly like mine. Like, I had a great household. I had a great safety net. I had awesome coaches. Not saying that Zach didn't have that, but I had a lot more guidance in my life from teammates. I think you can kind of see in the background, I got my Gaucho jersey up above my head. Like, the number 24 on this Gaucho jersey, let's see if I can point it up a little bit, You see that?
There it is.
So it says Spilborghs 24. The only reason why that thing's up there is because I had a teammate in Brett Wright, who is he works in Denver. We still remain pretty close, but he was a 5th-year senior. And he bought me a pair of sunglasses and taught me how to play in the sun in right field at UCSB, and then mentored me. This guy ended up playing in the minor leagues for the Dodgers and ended up being a pro. He was a pro already in college, so I just kind of watched that. And so I wore number 24 after he left to honor him. So that jersey means the world to me because he was a mentor for me, even in 1 year. So, like, I'm not sitting here without Brett Wright and a pair of sunglasses he bought me. So Zac needs to have a Brett Wright is what I'm saying, because the talent that he has on the field, most guys don't have the balls to steal home plate on a baseball like he did yesterday. And that is an amazing talent to have because it's baseball IQ. It's a little bit of crazy. But it's also really important for the team to play like this because that shows, like, when you play the Dodgers today and you have a Carrick that kind of plays with that like reckless abandon, and now you have a Veen that plays with the same thing, the Dodgers are going to be like, this is a different version of the Rockies. This is one that wants to punch us in the mouth versus us constantly just beating them up. And that's a big change for the Rock Show.
Yeah, at some point in life, you don't want to be the hydrant. You want to be the dog. And they've changed their view because the way they play. I thought about you on Sunday when I watched Carrick break the bat over his knee. He still deals with temper issues, but that's fine. We don't want to take the wag out of the puppy's tail. We talk about that. And the Veen play, it's not only like the courage to do it, which is like, man, you got to have, iron gut to do it, but he's competitive. It's coming from a place of competitiveness. I never thought when I saw him take off, that was a look at me play. That was a winning play.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference. And so when I'm watching Zac play, I'm seeing a competitiveness, not a look at me. Because the problem with Zac last year was, the purple hair or the platinum hair, and it was all this stuff that was drawing attention to him, and it was taking away the focus that he's incredibly gifted and he competes. But some of that gets lost if you're trying to do all the other stuff. And I think he was doing it out of fun, but in baseball, and it's not the most fun sport. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not, the NBA is a me sport. Yeah. Look at me, look at my shoes, look at everything. And football a little bit in terms of celebration. Baseball's not really, unless you're a star. Like, if you're a superstar, you can do it. But Veen, when it's organic like that, you're like, damn, that's just a great baseball play. That reminded me of Bryce Harper, like his rookie year, running as if he stole something and running into walls and hair flying. But it's like, I'm not doing it just to do it. I'm doing it because I'm trying to win games and I'm playing at a different speed. And people are like, what the heck, kid? Like, you're going through the school zone at 80 miles per hour here. And I loved it. I love everything about what he and Carrick are bringing. Does it mean they're going to be perfect? No. When you play with that kind of emotion, you're going to make big mistakes at times. You're going to do stuff where people go, oh, but that's okay. This is the season, and these are the times to learn that, to learn where is the governor, where is I can redline, and where do I need to throttle down a little bit? The old, I want to play with emotion, but not be emotional. I think Carrick is trying to learn that balance of, I want emotion, but there's a point where you got to, dial it back a little bit. I love it. I love everything about it. I just saw the stat, and Kyle Newman had it in the Denver Post. Their number of runs they're scoring on the road is up by like 1.5.
Yes.
So yeah, they're not good on the road. We get it, but it's not because of their offense, folks. Their offense for since basically June 1st has been a top 5 offense in baseball. I mean, they are not solved, but they are close to finding the formula of what a winning record offense looks like again.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of it has to do with the walk. I mean, they're taking walks, which, I mean, part of the reason why Amador is on the team right now is because Kyle Caros suffered, basically a tough collision with Tovar at short, and so he's on the 7-day IL with the concussion protocol. So, you lose Caros because he's basically, him and TJ Rumfield are leading the league or leading the Rockies in walks. But now we're seeing Carrick takes a walk. Veen will take a walk. Hunter's taking a walk right now, which is good. Although he's dealing with some shoulder inflammation right now, which should die down. They're hopeful because he spent the last 3 days on the IL. You talk about the pitching. It's been a problem for the Rockies and another tough start for Michael Lorenzen on Saturday. I'm still curious to see if they're going to move him to the bullpen or worse. You know, like you start to get to those conversations with Lorenzen because his ERA is well over a 7. It has not been a good year for him at all. And if you're showing that you are a competitive team, which the Rockies are trying to prove that, like this is one of those signs where, like, if you're trying to prove, hey, we don't take this anymore, you have to make a decision here. You either move him to the pen or worse, right? Which is a roster decision. So, and I'm not in that room. I'm just saying based on production, it's August 17th. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've kind of had plenty of opportunities and it's been a frustrating year. So I would not be surprised if we see or hear something today or tomorrow about Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah, listen, it's not as Clint Hurdle used to say, it's not a try-hard league, it's a do-good league. That's the reality of pro sports, folks. We're not trying to run people out of things. No, that's not, it's just the reality of pro sports. You have to produce. And when you get paid specifically to anchor the rotation and you're struggling, I mean, I watched it with Jeremy Guthrie. I watched it with Mike Hampton. I watched it with Denny Ningle. I could go down the list of guys who this field has just used for dental floss. I mean, it's a tough place to pitch. Sometimes guys like Lorenzen, similar to Guthrie, the smarter they are, sometimes it's paralysis by analysis. In Michael's case, for me, the seamless option is just switch he and Gordon.
Yep.
Let Gordon start and put Lorenzen in the pen.
Yes.
If you think it's salvageable. Because I think it's a player option. There's an option in that contract.
Yeah.
I believe. I know it's a player option, I believe. I could be wrong.
I think it's a mutual option. So I'll have to dig into that contract. I mean, it's not.
But the seamless one, and you brought it up before on our pod, is just flip flop he and Gordon, and for the rest of the season, because Gordon could be, maybe he's part of your rotation next year. You got to figure that out between Gabe, between Hughes and Gordon, and some of these young guys. You got to figure it out. Like they're giving Frasso some runs. So Frasso, letting to see what he's got. Like these are the guys you got to find out about, while trying to be competitive. Like I'm not saying you just sell out and use it as sacrificial games, but Gordon has earned the right, based on how he's pitched recently, to take that spot, if we're being honest. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you would see from Michael, and Michael hasn't pitched well at home at all. Like it'd be different if it was the old home road where he's killed it on the road and he's just struggled to find any footing, like Dolander last year. Dolander's year was so weird because he was really, really good on the road. And he just was non-competitive at home. Michael's just not found his footing for whatever reason. I know, the stuff at times looks right, but he can't finish, and its first innings are killing him. I mean, he's thrown second or third most pitches in the first inning this season. So we'll see. I mean, would it be surprising that he gets bumped out of the rotation or worse?
No,
I not at this point.
No,
because listen, they moved on from Julian. Freeman was on the ropes to have a rush, and he got hurt. And now Lorenzen. This is how it works at the end of a season. I've covered these teams like this. This is that DFA time. Young guy comes up. It used to be worse because they bring up more young guys. Now it's essentially 3 guys come up. So, you're not rooting for anyone to lose their job.
No.
But there's got to be a decision. And for me, the easiest, if you don't want to go to the nuclear route, it is just to flip-flop those two.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it is a club option. So no mutual option. It's not a player option. It's a club option. So if the Rockies will not exercise that, like I'm just telling you right now. So it'll be a $250,000 buyout if you even get to that point. So we'll see what ends up happening there. All right, one last little nugget before we get into the Savannah Bananas. Dodgers coming to town for 3 games. Is Sugano's on the bump for the first start, which he's been incredible. He's been so good for the Rock Show. And the Rockies have actually won 14 of his 21 starts this year.
Yeah.
14 of 21. So Dodgers are kind of in a little bit of a free fall for them. Not that I feel bad for them for 1 second, but they have lost 11 of the last 16. So it could be a fun series for the Rock Show at Coors Field. All right, let's get into Savannah.
Well, here's a quick thing too, real quick. People keep saying the Dodgers are bored with the regular season. Folks, Watch the games. They're not bored. They're just bad, and they're getting old. They have more wrinkles than a Shar-Pei. Mookie Betts is aging in dog years. Freeman's not the same guy. I mean, go down their lineup. I mean, Muncy's been fine, but Kyle Tucker's unplayable, even at Dodger Stadium. Now, they have another wave of young guys coming. Save your Kleenex for more worthy causes. But listen, the Dodgers, for me, are an easy mark in the playoffs right now because they can't hit, Spilly. And then Diaz and Tucker, they can't even use them at this point. So I don't want to hear they're bored. If you tell me they're bored, that tells me you're not watching the games.
Yeah, you're not paying attention because they're just not good right now. They're not good, and I don't think there's a switch that they're going to be able to flip on. I'm sorry, I don't think they're
not against good teams. They crush bad teams. So if they won 2 of 3 from the Rock Show, would I be surprised? No, I wouldn't. But they have a 500 record against good teams now. Like they're just not good against good teams, and they definitely didn't look like the best team on the field this last weekend against the Brewers. Not even close.
Not even close. All right, so Savannah Bananas came into town for Friday and Saturday. It was sold out both games. It was crazy. On Friday, there was a 2-hour rain delay, and of course, nobody left their seat. And so on Saturday, I got a chance to play for them. It was an honor. I've known Jesse Cole for a long time. That's the main banana, and it was pretty cool. It's the thing that stood out was, all that there's like 76, I think or 78 different events and different things that they have, from like a little baby banana to, like dances and all this stuff. And one of the things that they did was they were reflecting the team that the Bananas played were the Clowns. And the Clowns were, a great Negro League team. That was the team that Hank Aaron played for, Oscar Charlton. Like, there's just a great history of Clowns. And so Jackie Bradley Jr., a former big leaguer, he kind of anchors this team, which makes it really cool. And before the game even started, they do this whole song and dance. It's basically to like Hamilton, and they talk about the history of the Indianapolis Clowns. And during it, I mean, I got tears in my eyes when I was watching it. They even played shadow ball. So like, the Bananas will take infield, outfield. The Clowns do it with no ball, just like back in the day. So like, that's what the Indianapolis Clowns were known for. So seeing that was really cool. And, like banana ball is not baseball, but it is, it's just a different version. And it was amazing. It was fun to take part of. We got to see Kirsten Bell sing, rode in the elevator with her. She had some butterflies before her performance. So did I. This was the first time.
Is she there all the time, or just this was a one-off?
That one-time thing.
Okay.
I
wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then for me, like, that's the first time I've taken an at-bat at Coors Field since my very last at-bat, which was on my birthday, the day I blew out my plantar fasciitis. That was my last big league game. And for my son, he was in the batting cages with me. And it was the first time he's ever seen me like walk up and take an at bat. And so like after, like I went upstairs to go do a broadcast with ESPN, and I got super emotional because it hit me. I was like, damn, like I couldn't get the words out. My son's right there. I was like, this is the first time he's ever seen me play. And I couldn't hold it in.
Yeah, I was watching you. I was happy for you. I knew when you had talked about it before how much it meant to you. It's hard it's hard for big leaguers to play long enough, or any professional sport, for their sons or daughters to appreciate it, because you have to play forever till they're like 10, 11, 12 years old. And that's hard unless you have kids like 21 and you play till you're 31. But most guys, for obvious reasons, don't have kids and get married till 27, 28. And you're going to play till you're 38, 37? I mean, yeah, the greats do. Most of them, as you know, Spill, you get asked to leave the game. You don't get to tell the game when you're leaving. And so to see you have that moment, and, the crowds are great. I haven't been to the Bananas. One of my players I coached was on the Bananas years ago before it became huge, because it was a summer league team. he was part of it when they're just incorporating the dancing. So it's part Harlem Globetrotters, it's part Broadway play, and obviously the guys can play baseball. I mean, you have to be able to play. To do the trick plays, you have to be able to play baseball. So, and I felt for you because I thought you were going to hit late. So I watched like the whole second half of that game. I didn't realize you'd already hit, and I'm like, man, this guy that's pitching is actually really good. He's
That's
like
who I faced.
I was like, holy shit, if Philly has to face this guy, he was just in AAA. Yeah, he was throwing like, what, probably 93, 94?
93, 94 with Carey. The one thing about it is that yellow ball,
hard to see.
And it's not easy to pick up. And the way he was pitching was like, everything was like fast. So I could barely breathe. I could barely breathe. Like, I just I never got my ace swing off. In my mind, I was going to hit a jack to right field, but that clearly wasn't the case. I knew I was going to ground out the short because that was my last at bat. I mean,
that's baseball too. One more 6-3.
Yeah. So it was great. And, of course, Mark Razum and the grounds crew, I mean, they've gone through a lot of stuff this week. So if you see the grounds crew and for the Rockies game, make sure you give them high fives because they worked their butts off. Between 2 concerts and the Bananas, that's a lot. That was a lot of work. All right, Troy. Well, have a great couple of days. How's Broncos camp going?
It's fantastic. Broncos look like a Super Bowl contender. Not gonna lie. And if their offense looks anything like it did against Atlanta with a vertical attack with Davis Webb, we talk about caffeinating something, giving them a little juice. They're a Super Bowl team if their offense is top 15 because their defense is a Super Bowl defense.
Let's go.
So it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for the Broncos. It's one preseason game, but it's an exciting time. And I'm hoping to come out to the yard one of these next 2 days. My week's short because we got some family stuff coming up out of town. But I'm going to hopefully sneak out to the ballpark this week.
All right, there you go. All right, thanks for listening to Mile High Territory. We'll send us any of your comments, concerns, and we'll answer any questions for the next show. Bye.